Welcome to week 17 of the Sub 48 project. This week we had our first lactate training session of the year with some 200-meter repeats. They were incredibly painful, especially at the end, but I was blown away by how in shape all of us ended up being. I've gotten a lot of comments about how we haven't done 400-meter specific work so far, and this is exactly why. By building up speed, we increased our speed reserve, which is the difference between our maximum speed and the speed we run our reps or races at. This allowed us to build endurance through speed. But anyway, more on that later. We started out the week with an acceleration day just like usual. After our warm-up, we did some resisted sprints and then went into some 2-point starts. This week, my coach and I experimented a bunch with the placement of my back block. He taught me that the further back you put the back block, the longer the time will be until your first step after the 0 step. I originally had my blocks too close together, which made it so I couldn't get enough power on my first step and had to rush. Then last week, I tried moving it back 2 notches and I felt way more powerful and explosive, and it was easily my best block start ever. But this week, coach noticed a bit of a lag between my 0 step and my first step, which made him think I had probably gotten the back block too far back, which was giving me too long of a first push. We ended up finding the sweet spot with the back block 1 notch back, and I'm feeling way more confident in my starts now. The next day we had our plyo day. It was pretty standard, but I felt really bouncy this week. I say this almost every week, but I absolutely love this day. It is really cool to finally be healthy and explosive enough that I feel like a powerful athlete. Getting a little bit better at stuff like this every week is what makes track so addictive. We followed that with our first lift of the week. This is our final week of our first power phase of the year, so I tried to make the most of it in the weight room. I have to warn you though, my squat form was really rough this first day. I don't know what was going on. Like usual, we did some semi-sport specific squats with relatively narrow stance and light-ish weight, followed by some half range of motion Romanian deadlift, which is pretty much just the setup for a hang clean, but with less power involved. There was some injury prevention work thrown in, like our tibialis work, and we also did our jump squats loaded with 50% of body weight. Other than my squats, it was a really good lifting day. The next day was an active recovery day with form drills and hurdle mobility, and then we came back the next day for max velocity. We are still doing 20-meter flies, which is an extension of the 10-meter flies we did for the first few months of training. I often feel a little tired and worn down on these days, but once I get fully warm, these reps feel really smooth. I can tell I'm not at my fastest, but I'm moving pretty well. Then, into our second lift of the week, my squat form was thankfully back to an acceptable level. I also started turning the squats into little jumps because I wanted to make sure I was using max intent on every single rep. You also might notice that my Romanian deadlift looks kind of strange, and that's because I was experimenting with putting a little more force into it, almost like I was going to clean the weight. I don't actually know how to do power cleans, so I'm content to just kind of bounce the weight up even though it looks really weird. Like normal, I did some jump squats, and I also did some isometrics for my hip flexors, which seemed to make a really big difference in my hip flexor tightness, so I will keep doing those for a while. I used to try to do these when my hip was really bad, but when a muscle is that injured, any type of stretching tends to make it tighten up even more as a protective mechanism. I'm healthy enough now that I can actually handle them, so they work great in this stage of my recovery. I ended the workout with some upper body work like usual, and then finally it was the big day, our first lactate workout of the season. I was so excited to see where I was, but also super nervous because I knew for a fact it was going to hurt like crazy. The workout was 4 to 5 by 200 in 27 seconds, but my coach told us he would really like it if we ended up closer to 26 than 27. We did a really thorough warm-up because it was a cold and windy day, and then it was go time. For some context, coach didn't want us going out and trying to watch the clock and pace ourselves like a distance runner might, but instead he wanted us to push really hard for 40 to 50 meters like a regular hard acceleration, and then come upright and cruise the rest of the rep. That's basically how you run the first 200 of a 400, but obviously it's a little slower than that would be. And so that's exactly what I did, and I have never run a rep this fast this easily. I pushed really hard at the start and then practically jogged the rest of the rep and hit 25 flat. The next rep I tried to tone things back a bit because I was worried 25 flats would kill me. I pushed the start just as hard and then really let myself roll. I started feeling some burning in my hamstrings this rep, but nothing too crazy, and we ran a 25.5. I'll spoil things a little bit and tell you I ended up averaging 25.5 seconds, which is absolutely crazy to me. And also, after the last rep, both of my hamstrings literally felt like someone had poured lava into them and I could barely walk. But anyway, it isn't the craziest workout or pace ever, but when comparing it to last year, we are so far ahead of where we were. I don't think we were running times like this until the middle of outdoor or even later last year, even though we were doing lactate workouts like this for pretty much the entire year. That just shows you the power of the type of training we're doing. And it goes one step further to getting me absolutely pumped for the upcoming season. I think we might achieve some incredible things this year.